Good morning, Asia. Hello, world. It is a Thursday. Glad you could join us for this edition of Asia Business Report. I'm Rico Hizon, and we start off with the U.S. Federal Reserve, and there's a lot of anticipation over who might replace Janet Yellen as the head of the central bank. And this is keeping the U.S. dollar near three-month highs. President Donald Trump has not said whether he will reappoint Ms. Yellen when her current term expires early next year. But he has floated other possible contenders for the top monetary policy job. So what does this mean for Asian currencies such as the Japanese yen and the Chinese yuan? For his views, we're joined now by Jameel Ahmad, and he is a currency expert from FXTM. Thank you so much for joining us, Jameel. Nice to have you with us.
Thank you very much for having me.
A lot of factors pushing the dollar higher against most Asian currencies. You have who will be the next central bank chief in the U.S., strong corporate earnings, strong economic data. Will this keep Asian currencies lower against the greenback?
Excellent question to ask. You could say so over the near term. There's a lot of speculation over U.S. central bank policy. Obviously, if the Federal Reserve do continue to raise interest rates, this should lift the U.S. dollar, weakening the Asian currencies. On top of this, we've seen significant declines in the dollar over recent months. So what we could be looking at is a technical correction. And there's other factors as well. Economic data is still very strong. It looks positive for the dollar, and we've seen some strength in the dollar this week, pressure in Asian currencies, pressure in precious metals like gold as well.
A lot of factors to juggle, Jameel. But let's take a look at the Chinese yuan. We have Xi Jinping, another five-year term. The leadership Politburo was announced yesterday. Economic policies, what does this mean for the renminbi yuan going forward?
Actually, the MPC conference itself hasn't meant that much to the yuan over the near term. But what we can say is that there's so much uncertainty in the world right now. When you look at Catalonia, you look at the ongoing EU referendum negotiations, but all of the headlines and agenda this week has been on China. And
but I'm sure everybody also wants to find out, over the next 5 years of Xi Jinping's leadership, are we going to see a liberalized yuan?
Quite possibly. We've seen a lot of progress when it comes to the accessibility of the Chinese yuan and liberalizing the yuan over the past couple of years. And we can say that China's moving full forward with progress, liberalization, and the Chinese yuan prospects over the longer term look very good.
In Japan, it is a win-win situation right now for investors. A weak yen, which benefits exporters. And of course, we're seeing more than 2-decade highs for the Japanese stock market. Is this sustainable?
Well, we're seeing weakness in the Japanese yen, partly because of the strength in the US dollar. Of course, weakness in the yen is positive for the Japanese stock market and the Nikkei. Whether the Japanese yen remains negative over the near term would likely depend on whether investors look at the yen as a safe haven asset.
Apart from the US dollar, which other Asian currencies do you favor?
Actually, I do think that there's some strength in the emerging market currencies, because once the market's pricing the US interest rate expectations that the Federal Reserve will probably move forward in December, there's going to be some time before the next interest rate rise. So I do think at the end of this year, we could see a little bit of a rebound in the emerging market currencies across Asia.
Jameel Ahmad, thank you so much for your views on Asian currencies and the dollar from FXTM.